following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. Canna Chat in the Zone. I'm Ralph Tyko with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and an old friend, long-term contributor to Canna Chat is here with me. I'm blessed. Melodye Montgomery. How are you, Melodye?
I'm well, Ralph. Thanks for having me over again.
Yeah, well, you know, you're an additive, and just an up. We greeted off the air, and your exact words were, I asked you how you were, and you said, we're alive, we're above ground. And
I agree. It's a good day.
Yeah, it's got to be a good day when that happens, because we're both old enough to know the alternative is just around the corner for all of us. So,
shorter days.
Right, and we seem to live life to the fullest, both of us. That's one of the things that endears me to you. And let's have a little update about the cannabis scene in California. I don't want to be too specific. Our area in the Northern California Bay Area is, the East Bay Area is kind of indigenous to California. I see similarities with the transition from illegal to legal. I find it to be statewide with the same problems. So we'll speak in generalities. Are you happy with the first 12 months of legalization? It's been a year.
I am so not happy with it personally.
Okay.
I know that many people are out there prospering. I've also seen that it's been kind of an easy place for people to get in who have deep pockets. Those people who are already rocking with money can come in and create things here in California and get richer than they already are. The problem is that 64 doesn't or didn't set up any hard rules for mom and pop shops, for those people that are running and they don't have any employees. They're one person. They're doing everything. They're growing the product. They're processing it. They're making whatever end product it is. They're out there hustling it. There's no place for them to get in because the regulations and the cost, the money behind becoming a legal California cannabis company can be outrageous and just make it so a lot of people can't do what they really were hoping they could do.
What has the effects been on the good old-fashioned black market?
It thrives.
Okay, so from that standpoint...
Before it did exactly the opposite of what it was, what the lawmakers had hoped it would do, which would be kill the black market. Well, because of all the rules and regs and the extreme testing processes, the extreme and out-of-control packaging requests that are coming down from the state, from the BCC, the prices in dispensaries are incredibly high. Most things have been raised. Plus, there's the tax on everything. You have to pay your local tax, your California excise tax. At some places, you could be paying a total of 30% tax out the door on your $50 or $60 product. This drives people to go to the black market where there's no taxes, to go to people that they've known for years. They trust the way they grow. They trust the way whatever they're doing. If it's a shatter or an oil company or a hash company, people have made connections and have made these friendships over the years where people trust each other. So they go to those people. And that's the whole premise of the local sesh. That's a kind of an underground thing, is that you're not having to go through all those steps. And you find people and vendors and growers, whatever, that you really like and trust, and you just go there and you bypass all of the taxes. I hate to sound like I'm over here going, yay, black market, yay, black market, but in today's economy, the average patient or adult user may not be able to afford dispensary prices.
Oh, no question that they can't, and most of us go to the dispensaries when the dealer isn't available, when the push, our old buddies that have been doing it aren't available. Now, this becomes a lose-lose situation for the cities, the individual municipalities, and in the long run, the taxpayers that aren't even into marijuana, because there's some big money. If you check out what Oregon has done with their situation, they're thriving up there, and cities are not benefiting from these taxes by law-abiding citizens who want to get high or be medicated. And that's where it's sad for everyone concerned. And the one negative thing about dealing with our old sources on the black market is that there is no testing. I thought the good part about 64 was that it would provide testing. I didn't realize until just now that it cost a big portion of the profits for that testing. Would you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, especially this last stage of testing, stage 3 testing, is huge. There's testing that we don't even do on tomatoes or potatoes that people can go into the grocery store and buy. That the cost is huge. I was hearing that I could be wrong in here, but I was hearing around $700 per SKU for testing for the complete battery.
Oh wow, that makes it prohibitive for the little mom and pop store.
If you could even get your license and get your spot, then you've got to deal with that as well. And then what happens is if you fail even by a tiny bit, your product must be destroyed or fixed in somehow, and they haven't quite figured out the rules and regs of that. So I know some folks who have had their product stuck in quarantine for months.
Okay. Now, how about the packaging? You mentioned that as well, and I must tell the audience that you are an expert because you have a product that is legitimate, and you're going through all of this. And I don't know about the pop part, but you're a mom, so unless I'm missing the boat here, you're the person to ask about what's going on. What is this packaging regulation, and how does that affect you?
Personally, okay, so you had to change your labels. They've required some huge verbiage and warning about cannabis on every package. It's huge, and it's pretty ridiculous.
What warnings did they give, just out of curiosity? Is it akin to cigarette warnings?
Yes.
Okay. By legalizing it, wasn't the battle on that fought a long time ago, that it isn't smoking a cigarette, that the carcinogenics are not there? Who is responsible for regulating the packaging, and can they be held accountable?
Gee, I don't know. It's part of the whole BCC, the Bureau of Cannabis Control, and I'm not sure how you would go about that. As the rules and regs come out, they give the public a certain amount of time to respond to each section before it becomes final. So we respond, and we try to respond in huge groups. We try to create bonding type of letters between companies where we all sign one letter, and then we respond as individuals as well. And then we hope that they hear us.
Right.
Sometimes things get changed a little bit, sometimes totally ignored. So, yeah, the packaging has, even for a topical product such as mine, I've got to have all that labeling on there, which means, I have to completely redo my logo, my branding that people are used to seeing. You can't have, on your label, you can't have any pictures of cannabis on your cannabis product, except for the California stamp that has a big weed leaf on it, and it's really ugly. That's the weed that you get to put on your product. So people have had to revamp totally what their label even looks like. On top of the fact that I have to have a child-proof lid on a topical, which can make it really difficult for seniors and people with mobility issues to get into a product.
Oh, yeah, arthritis, this, that, and the other thing, that's a pain.
Yeah, I've brought home products from dispensaries that I've had to wait for my husband to come home from work to open for me.
Really?
Because I can't get into it. I cannot. I have arthritis in my thumbs and in my hands, and I'm just not strong enough to open some of these without causing myself pain. I've posted it on Facebook. Y'all, has anybody got a trick to get into this jar here?
Right. Besides, I don't know if you're into Curb Your Enthusiasm, but there's an opening scene in one of the episodes that has Larry struggling with the shampoo in the shower and just not being able to get into it. And it's quite amusing until it happens to you.
And you're screaming because you're wet, and you're like, can somebody help me?
Right, exactly.
I just get help, and that's horrible when you have to have help to either medicate yourself or take a shower, right?
Right, and you can't do both. You have to make that decision. And as we know, there are some downsides. Making decisions when you're a little high may not be always the best time to do it. And if you like
well, it sounded like a good idea at the time, though.
Right. What could have gone wrong? What do you like about Proposition 64? We've talked about some of the negatives. Is there anything that stands out that makes you think, well, at least we've got this?
Well, some things did happen. I mean, we do have the new section of the law and a new law that's in the state of California about automatically expunging all cannabis-related arrests and records.
Right, especially in San Francisco. I don't know if it's every city.
No, it's California. Every city has to figure out how to do that, but there's a process for everybody to do it.
Oh, excellent. That's, we become more and more like Texas every day.
But what should happen is, there's a giant databases of all arrests made in California, and what should happen is an easy algorithm to run and just run through that with a, computer program and snag all the people that have non-violent cannabis arrests, and you pull them and you expunge that. And so I feel like there's an easier process for that now to happen. That's a good thing.
Let's tell the folks for a second how it was in the past. In San Francisco in the 80s, me personally, I'm sitting in my friend's pickup truck, one of the first times I was ever even in a pickup truck, and we're smoking a J, and it's in an alley right by a tavern that we were imbibing legal, beverages, alcoholic beverages. We go out, smoke a J, boom, the cops are on us, and wow. And in the 80s, it was it's a ticketable offense. But for one reason or another, they took me downtown for the whole Megillah. booked and fingerprinted, and this is for smoking a J and having less than an ounce on me.
When you were in a parked car, not moving, and obviously not going anywhere because you were going right back into the bar to get your dance on.
Exactly. And it turned out that someone saw us from a window above. This was in an alley, and had a stick up their ass and just called the cops. The cops could do nothing. It escapes me why I wasn't just given a ticket, but the end result was I spent about 3 or 4 hours. It was like Alice's restaurant. I'm sitting in there with a bunch of folks. What are you in for? Littering. I'm in for smoking a J. And they bail me out at 2 in the morning, and they don't bail me out. They release me on my own recognizance. And they give me a court date, go in at such and such time. The fine's going to be $65. What happens is when I go in, it was off the docket because they were so backed up that they didn't even mess with it. So the city of San Francisco is out $65, and I was inconvenienced to the extreme. Anytime one is incarcerated, that's why I really have feelings for folks who are in there in the
traumatic
long periods of time. You joke about Texas, but smoking a joint in Texas, I would probably still be in.
This is true.
That's how they were abusing the craziness before, and I think the cities, the state, legalized it with greed in mind, the tax dollar, what could be gained. And I think the greed is doing both. The big business is coming in, and they're greedy, so they're raising the prices, and the government. And I think that pretty well sums it up in terms of why it is. It's an intrinsic greed that shows up in every industry, into sports, everything that we do, advertising, medicine, traditional medicine, the big pharmacies, healthcare. It's greed. And
I agree. Well, we started trying to make it legal.
I hope that wouldn't happen with weed.
Yes.
How did this get so carried away?
We that are community based, that are kind of grassroots, kind of have. I believe we have to change our idea of what we think about all cannabis people. Because in the past we thought about cannabis people, cannabis companies of love, peace, dope, right? I mean, we want to get together, we want to help each other, we want to lift each other up, and it's sad to see that that's not true.
Yeah.
And you can see it more as the laws are being written. You see the people that are taking advantage of the green rush in California, which is what it's being called, the green rush. And so people are coming, you've got huge companies from Canada coming to set up, and yet your person who's here get a license. Pardon?
Sorry, I interrupted you.
You have people from, so not even just out of state, but out of country coming and can get set up and make some money in California, where your local people who've been here doing it for years are struggling to get those licenses and even become legal.
I heard about Monsanto getting into it the other day. Now, if that doesn't scare you, nothing will. Because they'll be big enough that they'll be able to supersede these testings. And that's scary in itself.
And once again, that pushes certain people, like myself, back to go to the people that I know and love. to get my product. I know specific people don't grow with pesticides. I know they grow organically. I've been there. I've watched them do it. I know that their heart is about the cannabis and growing clean medicine. And I see the process where it goes from these people's hands over to those people who extract it and make the hash or the shatter or make a nice edible or a topical. And so you follow the chain of clean meds through clean people, through people who love cannabis and love what they do, because they love
Melody,
helping
does this
people.
not feed into the idea of being a scofflaw is wrong? And aren't there people that need the medication? And I think we all need the medication. Whether
Agree with that?
Whether you can write it down, write the symptoms down or not, we all need it. But some people are so law-abiding, and you can't blame them for being that. Doesn't this fit right into that antiquated thinking that you're damned if you do and damned if you don't?
Yes. Yes, it
Very
does.
sad.
Yeah, one of the other things, I hate to keep saying bad things about 64, but it killed compassion programs. We had a lovely program set up in our East Bay area where we had large companies donating sizable amounts of different types of medicines, whether it was RSOs for cancer or it was topicals for arthritis or just plain flour. Just donations so that we were able to then give people free cannabis who could not buy medicine. They had no way to afford it. These were people that we made sure that these were needy people. We were then able to just give them medicine. They would sign up. They would let us know what they were looking for. There was a process.
Ryan Miller went through the same thing with the veterans. He had a compassion program going. And,
yes, Operation EVAC.
Right, exactly. And
Weed for Warriors is going through it.
What gets me about this all, if this country is not taking care of we elderly, not at heart, not in mind, but I'm an old fucker. Let me tell you. If they're not and I happen to be a veteran. So if this country is not taking care of we elderly veterans, for instance, what have we come to socially?
Yeah, you've left up to the black market to cover you guys. Okay, so back in the day, I used to the Weed Warriors machine.
Before, I'll be a scofflaw again, and we got the black market to cover it. And
that's what happened. Before 64, Weed for Warriors, Operation EVAC had monthly meetings. They could count on specific companies coming and giving them donations because it was tax deductible. It was just gifts. Here, have some. Here, there was not a track and trace where every single flower and bud in the ground was.
PSD. They came back from fighting wars that they didn't really believe in. They were economic drafts, and even if they did believe in it, they still needed help that they didn't get from the veterans and from the VA.
Right.
And this was going on, and it was helping things and putting smiles on people's faces and bringing the community together. And they had to mess with that. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I attended Weed for Warriors on a monthly basis. I would make product for them. I would go to different events like High Times Cup or HempCon or just the local sessions with my bag open. I'm going to Weed for Warriors this month. You guys want to drop anything in the bag? And just collect around so that I would take stuff over to their meeting and go, here's a bunch of stuff I gathered for you guys. And what it's done now is if I gather that.
In that. It's like feeding the homeless. There are people being arrested in San Francisco for feeding the homeless.
Yes, I saw something like that happen in Lodi or Modesto, one of our little towns over in the Far East. That it was a thing that they did annually, and they came and they served them cease and desist. Do not hand out sandwiches to the homeless people anymore. Like,
this is a crazy world we live in, Melody.
Yes, I was so disappointed in Governor Brown when he vetoed the compassion bill. All we were asking for was for companies to be able to donate medicine without having to pay tax of the full price as if they had sold the medicine. So right now, companies can donate.
Governor Moonbeam and dating Linda Ronstadt.
You would have signed that in a heartbeat, huh?
And how does one turn from that to this?
You would have signed that in a heartbeat back then.
Of course. If it took him a little longer to sign it, it's just because, where's my pen?
So yeah, I don't know, but that's one of the things that we're still fighting for. There's recently a new one program that has been permitted to work on a compassion program that's running out of, I believe it's Berkeley Patient Group, in Berkeley, and that is it's my understanding that it's only for Berkeley citizens, Berkeley patients. And it's a pilot program, and they worked really hard to get that, so we want to keep our eye on that and hopefully do anything that we can to help them survive it.
Beautiful. Hey, Melody, I know you're pressed for time. You're going to reunite with an old friend this afternoon.
Yes, my girlfriend Diane, we have been best friends for 42 years. And Ralph, if you don't mind, I'll just tell you a little story about how we met because I think you'll appreciate it.
All right.
42 years ago, my boyfriend, who we had an apartment together, I lived with, his best friend was getting married, and they were having a bachelor party at our apartment. So I was told to leave my apartment and go down the street to this girl Diane's house where all the women were going to meet of all the guys that were at the bachelor party. So here I am, me going down there in a strange place, knocking at a door, and this blonde girl answers the door, and I go, "Hi, I'm Melody. They told me to come down here to hang out tonight." And she goes, "Hi, I'm Diane. Come on in. You want to smoke a joint?"
Oh, nice.
42 years later, that's still the first thing we do when we see each other. Come on, let's get smoking.
Beautiful.
I thought that you would appreciate that.
You're going to have a great reunion this afternoon, Melody.
Thank you.
We'll be back again, I hope, soon, and we'll stress some of the good parts of what's going on.
I'll try to get some lined up that I can concentrate on.
Right.
Okay.
They're few and far between, but there are some, and the one that you mentioned that really stands out is the Compassion Program, bringing that back, Brown vetoing it, and we'll do something about that. We'll organize something to get it back. But just shows the way things change in this world. And so we'll do it again soon. How about that?
Okay, and if you want to talk more about the Compassion Program, I will shoot Paul your way so you can talk to him because he's really a big part of that.
Beautiful. If you would. Thank you.
Okay, have a great day, Ralph. I really enjoyed talking to you.
I do, you, Melody, and
some weed together soon.
How about we end this thing with Happy Trails? Remember when
Happy Trails.
Happy Trails to you, my dear. And if you're listening out there, thank you for listening. Do us a solid. I'm going to interject this. It's very important in my life. Get books, children's books, boxed up, new, used. lightly used. Get them boxed up and take them down to the Head Start program in whatever community you live. Kids need to read. They need to develop an imagination. They need to become school ready, and they need to get their noses out of the devices and computers. Let them read. Get them books. Kids at Head Start, by definition, need help more than normally. Get them some books. They need it by definition. And that would be solid, a solid thing to do. Get a neighborhood drive together. Whatever you do will be good. Help the Head Start program. And thanks for listening. Canna Chat in the Zone, Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. The guest was Melodye Montgomery. I'm Ralph Tyko, the weak link of it all. Thanks a lot. The proceeding was a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production. Thank you for listening.